I wonder why JEA scheduled this community meeting. If you don't know, JEA is about to impose a health hazard only feet from our homes, a hazard that none of us want, hazard that we did not agree to, a hazard that we have no control over. It's going to reduce our home resale value and create a visual and auditory nuisance. Generally, organizations schedule meetings with communities to share points of view, try to understand the community, listen to the community, and collaborate on potential solutions. On the other hand, JEA scheduled a community meeting to do what exactly? They clearly weren't interested in collaborating on potential solutions or listening to the community. They didn't take questions. They didn't listen to any of the information we provided them. They simply broadcasted their message that they wanted us to hear. Or did they even want us to hear anything? They gave disclosure as to how far our homes were from the power lines and the expected EMF insult at those various distances. They really have no idea what it might be until they turn the power on, of course. Why did they do this? Were they covering their legal asses? Once they've publicly disclosed exactly what's happening, perhaps that manufactures a legal defense against any future complaints. They also provided information about all the various EMF insults that we deal with in our homes in the form of nice, shiny infographic handouts. Why did they do this? Are they worried about us? Did they care that our Wi-Fi, electrical outlets, and cell phone signals perturb our immune systems and impact our sleep quality? Or was that a way to deflect the argument that they're imposing a health hazard only feet from our homes? A hazard that none of us want, a hazard that we did not agree to, a hazard that we have no control over. I mean, when we use our microwave, we only use it for a few seconds or a few minutes, and it's our decision to use it or avoid it. On the other hand, JEA's lines, they're going to be running 24/7, and we don't have a choice about it. We've seen this kind of psychological warfare done in the past when the tobacco companies were being attacked. Big Tobacco said that lots of other common things were dangerous, so don't bother worrying about smoking because there are a lot of other things that could hurt you. So just give up altogether trying to protect yourself. All sorts of manipulation and smoke screens show up when an organization wants to impose pollutants or environmental hazards on a community. Sounds just like what JEA was doing, doesn't it? Another part of the meeting, JEA explained why it had to put this hazard only feet from our homes. They explained how it would be too expensive to avoid irradiating us, so our community should just allow them to harm us for their own financial interests. I mean, if I want to impose my own radiation to harm myself in my own home, then fine. As long as I don't harm anybody else. But I also have the right to avoid external insults and harm imposed upon me from others. Yes? Since it seems these lines don't benefit our community in any way, they deliver power to other communities, why should we go quietly? Since it seems that JEA set this community meeting only for their own interests and in no way for the interest of our community, other than to cover their legal asses, to manipulate the consent of the community in their favor, to lie to us about the potential quality of life and health hazards, not to mention BS us about how these additions in our midst tend to lower resale values? Are we supposed to continue to see JEA as our good neighbor, as our friend, as a collaborative, kind corporate citizen? It sounds to me like this good buddy mindset would be leading us as sheep to the slaughter. So, considering all this, the only way it seems we should see JEA is as an adversary at best. Basically, the enemy. Treat them like a buddy that you're trying to influence and your message falls on deaf ears, the only strategy that will make a difference for our community and our interest in this case is attack. That's the language that JEA will understand. Attack their financial interests through legal means, through publicity, through media, and through rendering their true nature in their public image. Make it not so pretty for JEA. There are lots of ways communities defend themselves and their interests in this type of situation. Class action lawsuits, public outcry, etc. Make it more expensive for them to harm our community through this insult than it is to just move their plans elsewhere. Make them consider that a few $1,000,000 to go elsewhere is cheaper than the kind of trouble imposing this on our community creates for them. Without this kind of trouble generated, why would an organization waste millions of dollars? I mean, they have their own self-interests in mind here. Why would they spend extra money to go elsewhere? Because our kids are going to get leukemia? Because the community will experience memory loss and compromise their immune systems? Because our home values go down? None of these things bother JEA. That's obvious. The only thing that's going to bother JEA is threatening JEA's interests, which seem to include money and their public image. Not much else. So when our homeowners association, who seems to be in constant communication with JEA, takes the position that we will, quote, work together with JEA, I say to that you're just bending over so JEA can insert its plug and electrify our butts. No thank you. Our homeowners association has access to resources. We spend lots of money to accrue these resources, and lots of that money goes to the greater community around us as well. Let's get our money's worth and not lay down and let JEA attack our health, our home values, and our quality of life. Our community is stronger than that. We are not sheep. We know our enemy, don't we? And time is not on our side. JEA temporarily halted progress to cover their butts with this meeting. They don't need our permission to continue.